Hello everyone, I'm Ron Patton, executive producer of Ground Zero with Clyde Lewis. Welcome to another exciting edition of the Ground Zero Lounge. Woo! Yeah. This is the Halloween special. Thanks again to Steve and his great staff for assisting with this great venture. So, we have a great crowd tonight. Well, they're still coming in. But just to let you know, besides having this excellent event this evening, the Ground Zero Lounge and Halloween party at the Paradise Sports Bar, Ground Zero also has a Halloween event this Monday, October 31st at Quarter World, which is sort of like an old school arcade. And they have the Tesla coil that kind of does its thing with all kinds of great music. And we'll also be doing a ghost hunt that evening. So if you can attend that as well, that'd be great. I want to introduce to you the one and only Hellboy, aka Clyde Lewis.
I've been playing rock, paper, scissors with myself. I'm not working. It's not winning. I don't know what the hell's going on. You also told me I can do something else with this, but I don't know what. Don't want to shove it in any other places. But anyway, thank you all for coming out. I know I don't normally dress up for Halloween. I just figured it was something to do. Usually I tell people I'm not going to dress up this year for Halloween because Vincent Price never dressed up for Halloween. And he was Vincent Price. I mean, I just come as Clyde Lewis. That's scary enough, isn't it? Wouldn't that be good if I could do that? That'd be cool. Yeah. Anyway, thank you all for coming out. I know a lot of people have Halloween commitments. They have Halloween commitments at their companies, corporate stuff, all kinds of stuff. And you guys made it here tonight. I'm really grateful for that. I'd like to thank Bill Coons for coming out too to videotape this event. When it is a Halloween event, there are a lot of things to talk about. And I want to focus a little bit about just what it means, what Halloween means and what it is. And how people, I think, have lost sight about what it's about. I mean, we've had so many things in history, the history of Halloween, that is tainted it a bit. And there are some things that, enhance the idea of what this is for. And what it is it's first reflect on just where we stand, I guess, in the multiverse. We've talked about the multiverse in so many ways. The multiverse has given us so many horrors and so many interesting things. But when you're looking at quantum entanglement, when you're looking at how it affects every one of us, I would say that quantum entanglement is that halfway point between where science says, yes, there is a paranormal, yes, there is a supernatural, but we can't put our fingers on it. We use Heisenberg's uncertainty principle. We use all kinds of things to kind of say, yeah, anything can happen, and it usually does, and this is where we think about this at Halloween time. I think a lot of people seem to think, Halloween is like a time for carte blanche films about, I guess, you look at movies and they're all slasher films, and you're seeing blood everywhere, and that's what it's about. It's not all about that. I mean, there is this spiritual side to Halloween, and we don't want to lose track of what kind of spiritual side that is. I mean, we have a lot of people telling us, well, Halloween is the time for Satan. Halloween's the time for the devil, and I don't participate in that kind of stuff. Well, the light side and the dark side, the duality of what it's all about, I think is important to understand. We do have a duality. We do have to understand that we keep it in balance. We keep that duality in balance. That is why Halloween exists. It reminds us that things are getting darker. It reminds us that the sun is going down a lot earlier in the day. And I think, do we change the clocks back this Sunday? Oh, not yet. We do it after Halloween, right? I think that's what we're doing it. Maybe not. Maybe we're supposed to do it soon. I don't know. But see, that's the thing, is that as soon as Halloween rolls around, we know that things are going to get darker. And I was noticing the other day, they're putting up the Christmas lights. So we no sooner, get the pumpkin, the frost on the pumpkin, we have to get out the Christmas lights and start doing Christmas. And I was thinking, why do they smear all these together? And the reason why is because it's the festival of Saturn. It's the festival of Kronos. It's the idea that we work ourselves up to that idea that there are a lot of spirits that are disturbed spirits, that are constantly disturbed. And then we have those spirits of people who want to bring light and hope into the year. And when we celebrate the time of the darkness, it's an ancient ritual where we say to ourselves, Yes, the darkness comes. Yes, there are dark entities. Yes, there are dark spirits, but we have to bring into our homes the warmth and light to ward off those types of bad things. And so that's why we have Christmas. That's why we have Thanksgiving, because after all the bad stuff goes down in Halloween, we're reminded one day afterwards that we should have a little bit of respect for the dead. We should have a little bit of respect for the spirits that are out there guarding over us and watching over us. And there is this barrier, and there's this matrix we've constructed for ourselves that we call normal. But you know, it really, normal's kind of one of those things that you should use in quotes, because what is really normal? What is really the normalcy bias we tend to have? Things are changing so much in this world now. Abby normal, that's exactly right. Abby normal. Everything is Abby normal right now. And I think it's because of the fact that we don't embrace both. We don't embrace the duality. We either say there's a good and an evil, but we don't talk about things like chaos and organization. And chaos is what we don't understand, and so we give it a label. We call it evil. We call it something that we should avoid. Yeah, we should avoid chaos, but in the chaos sometimes we can find order. And in that order, we're supposed to try and spread that around and try to tell people, yeah, I've been to the chaos, I've been back. I've experienced a near-life experience or a near-death experience, and I've been back. I've been in that position where the veil has been so thin that I'm able to see what's ahead. Yeah, somebody just said, I know where I'm going. Yeah, that's applaud, that's great. Yeah, I know where I'm going. I know what I'm focused on. I know what the prize is. But here's the deal. There are a lot of people that say, though, I've read the book and I know how it ends. Well, no, you don't. The book says it may end this way, but you know, there's so many different adventures that we ignore when we have that attitude. The attitude that, hey, no matter what I do, I'm going to end up in a good place. No, not always. And it gets real intense. It becomes a white knuckle affair. Life should never be a white knuckle affair, but it is. And that's why we have Halloween, to remind us of things that scare us, to remind us of things that are kind of chaotic and kind of bizarre. And I always have this struggle every year that, you know, I talk about a number of things on my show. I talk about conspiracy theory, I talk about government corruption, I talk about impunities and all kinds of other things, and I try to mix it up. And I also talk about the paranormal, because I tell people all the time, every day for me is April Fool's Day, and every night is Halloween. And every night is Halloween. Didn't know my shirt was going up. Shirt going up. It's because this coat. I'm not used to wearing this coat, so I'm just going to cover up. Okay. Nedra, is that you?
Yes.
You look great.
Try using this one.
Oh, that's a better microphone? Okay, they're giving me another microphone. Anyway, hi Nedra, you look awesome. Nedra, the queen of the damned. Look at this. This is a beautiful costume, isn't it? Good job, Nedra. You look awesome. Very good. I didn't recognize you.
Fabulous.
Awesome. So, as I was saying, the spirit world, Halloween, all this stuff is there, and I think it's healthy. And I really, really, really detest people who tell me that Halloween is time for the devil. It's all satanic and it's whatever. Yeah. You know, those are joyless people. Those are people that, you know, are so afraid that their souls are going to burn in hell that they do everything, you know, to walk that tightrope. And you know, if you're strong and if you have goodwill in your heart, if you have hope in your heart, you're not going to stray too far off the straight and narrow. And the thing that's interesting is that when you look upon someone's heart rather than look upon other parts of them, you tend to realize that people want so badly to do good. They really want to do good. And that's been my experience, is that people really want to do good. There are, of course, people out there that do bad things, but, you know, most of the time, everybody wants to, you know, they got kids, and they got family, and they got lives, and they got things that they really, really, really want to cherish. And what hurts them is the idea of shaming and saying that what they're doing is, in your opinion, bad. And I've had that experience lately when I've been talking about some of the darker things, talking to some of the spiritual realms, and people telling me that this is what the Bible tells you you shouldn't do. This is what the Bible... you know what? I think that's awesome that you have the Bible in your life. I tell them, I think that's awesome you have the Bible in your life, but please don't.
Stories of people who wrote bits and pieces of what happened in history.
Well, I would say this. It's a spiritual guide. It's everything, but you know, it's not something you can hit somebody over the head with like a cudgel. And I've always been of the opinion that, you know, some people think that it's okay to hit people over the head with it. It's not good. You know, if you've had a spiritual experience, if you've had an experience dealing with the other side, if you've had an experience, whether it be a demonic experience or any other experience, these are life experiences that are part of life. They call it paranormal, but you know what? Anymore, it's becoming normal. Paranormal means outside the norm. Paranormal means a little bit, you know, supernatural or strange. But you know, supernatural things happen all the time. And if you're not attentive to them, if you're not having any attention to them, then you're not going to see them. And everybody seems to try and figure out, well, there's something logical I can say about my paranormal experience. Well, sure you can. And you can deal with that for the rest of your life, but there's a lot of things that don't make any sense, whether it be meaningful coincidence and strangeness and that still small voice in your head telling you that something is wrong or right or any, that's all part of the paranormal experience. And so when the darkness falls, which is falling now, when we're seeing how the seasons are changing, they're changing because they remind us that eventually the light will return. They're telling us that, yeah, the journey into the winter is going to be a dark one. They're telling us that, yeah, you know, something's happening. And I can tell you right now that I'm worried for this immediate future. A little worried for this immediate future because I see people very angry about where the world's going, but yet they're willing to settle for the lesser of two evils. And when we're talking about evil at Halloween, I always tell people, evil is evil, no matter how you slice it, and the lesser of the two evils is still evil. And we need to understand that. Why should we settle for the lesser of two evils when we can find ourselves in a position to just basically vanquish and destroy that evil? I get told all the time, oh, you want to find a perfect leader, don't you, Clyde? There's all the leadership needs to be perfect in your eyes. No, not really. Human beings are human beings, and they do fail, and they do all kinds of crazy things, and they do sometimes do things that are bad. But the problem I have is when criminal activity is going on, and yet we let it slide. We let it slide because of our identity politics. We let it slide because of party purity. We let it slide because we feel we don't have a choice. We do have a choice. We have a choice to say no. We have a choice to fight back. We have a choice to say, you know, I don't like the way things are going. We have a choice to say, I know something is wrong. I know there's a symptom that needs to be vanquished. I know that we need to find a way to cure what's bothering us. I know we need to heal. But the dialogue there is not happening. So many times we want to get involved in what is known as combative talk. We want to fight amongst each other. Nothing works unless it's combative. Nothing works unless it's a crisis. But does it always have to be a crisis? Do we always have to be on edge when we're dealing with life? We don't. We really don't. We don't need the stress. We don't need the trouble or the turmoil. I think the only things that bother us anymore are the bill collectors and those who most certainly want to get into our face and tell us that the way we're living is wrong. And I think, no, if we're happy and we have a family and we're keeping our families together, that's one thing we can do to beat the system. That's one thing we can do to push against the statistics. I've always felt to myself that if I can find a way in one manner or another to beat the statistics, to fight against these statistics that tell us that we're doomed, I'm doing my job. And I would like everybody else to think that way too. If you see a statistic and you don't want to be a part of it, fight back and say, I don't believe in this statistic. I want to change these things because I know that there's darkness in the world. I know that there's anger in the world. I know that there are bad things in this world. But you know, it's not enough to keep me from wanting hope. It's not enough to keep me wanting the light. It's not enough to push me to the point where I'm suicidal or unhappy or angry. We get angry from time to time. I get angry from time to time. I get frustrated from time to time. But I think the problem we have is not enough dialogue about this. I always find myself saying dialogue, 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 dialogue. And I feel like sometimes I'm unique in that regard, and I tell people all the time, I say being a talk show host who talks about the everyday occurrences and the everyday politics, that's easy to do. All I have to do is listen to the other guys and say, well, I'm going to talk like they talk. I'm going to be like them. It'd be easy for me to do that every day, but I can't. I have to go in every day. I have to go in every day and I have to make notes. I have to go in every day and I have to say, what can I do to bring a unique spin to the way the world is? What can I do to change people's minds or at least give them something else to think about? More than just two sides to the story, maybe a third side to the story. Maybe I can get them to think twice and act once. Think twice before you act. No knee-jerk reactions, just forethought and ideas that can keep you happy, that is what we should think about at Halloween. Yeah, the dark stuff, the fun stuff, all that stuff. You know, I went to a meeting with Alice Cooper, the rock star, and he was saying that, and he was very true. He says sometimes if the villain can speak the truth, we listen to the villain more so we listen to the good guy. And people always say, well, villains never speak the truth. That's not true. Villains can speak the truth. Villains can quote anything to you if it's for the best interest of them. And tonight I'm dressed up as Hellboy, you know, kind of like the villain speaking to you and saying, this is how we need to be, you know. And it's like a devil who does good things is kind of a strange thing because the devil never does anything good. The devil is not good at all. There's a TV show called Lucifer where the devil shows up and he decides that he wants to help out. He wants to fight crime. And people say, that's the stupidest thing I've ever heard. You know, you put a good-looking guy on TV and everybody believes what he has to say. But I think that we need to stop this black and white, good and evil. I think we need to find this middle. I think we need to find this gray area. And I don't say we need to stay in the gray area all the time. But I think we need to understand that there are good things that happen after bad things. You know, when I studied weather, studied meteorology, we always say that, well, what always follows a low pressure system? A high pressure system. What always comes before a high pressure system? A low pressure system. So when you have a low pressure system moving in, that's the down, that's the negative. But there's always a high pressure system coming in to replace it. That's the nature of things. And that's one of the things when we talk about climate change. And I say to people, you know, here's the deal about climate change. Climate always seems to have this way of going down south, but it always bounces back again. So if you're continually telling me that you're going to be pushing the issue of paying taxes and all kinds of craziness for this climate change stuff, it's all going to come back again. It's going to come back to normal again. You know why it's going to come back to normal again? Because that is the cycle of things. You know, you look at the book of Ecclesiastes where it says, there's a time for this, and a time for this, and a time for this, a time to sow, a time to live, a time to die, a time to this, a time to that. That is brilliant because that is how it is. That is how it's done.
Really?
That's how it's done.
Only one way?
Only, yeah.
Only one way?
Oh, well, not one way. There's several ways.
Anyway, I decide it's going to be.
Yeah, well, you're the master of your own domain. You're the one that makes your own decisions. You're the one that pushes the issues.
Everybody is the center of the universe.
That's heliocentrism. Something like that. Anyway. Did anybody hear the show last night? Anyone?
No.
Yeah.
A lot of people raising their hands saying, yeah. I have never in my life had the experience that I had last night. It was amazing. For those of you that don't know, we have this haunted doll in my relics of haunted things. It's called Little Dutch Creek. And we found a way to hook up a telephone to another telephone to create a signal scramble that we were able to ask this doll questions because it was haunted. And this doll was talking to us, and we were hearing all kinds of things. And I was astounded.
It scares the crap out of me.
It was scary, wasn't it? It was scary, and it was also thrilling at the same time because something was in that doll speaking to us.
Male and female.
What's that?
Male and female.
Male and female voices. Yes, male and female voices.
Yeah.
And for me, it was exciting. For me, it was interesting.
Yeah.
My wife, Janine, is amazing. Look at her. She looks beautiful. Can I give her a hand? Oh, my God. She is my angel. Look at her. Awesome. Anyway. Oh, and Uncle Chucky, he too has wings. Cowboys. What is it? The Cowboy Fairy?
He's a cowboy fairy. I'm a cowboy angel.
You're a Cowboy Angel.
Yes.
Oh, thank you for coming, sweetheart. Thank you for coming. I really am glad you're here. Thank you. Anyway, I don't know. I just am very happy tonight because I just, you know, I just want to tell people that Halloween is meant to be fun. You know, screw the poison candy idea. You know, whenever I bring that up, whenever I say to people, hey, the poison candy thing is an urban legend, I say, but some guy did this. I know. Back in 1974, some guy poisoned his own kid's candy. And ever since then, it's been like everybody's scared of poison candy. Well, you know, we shouldn't have these things just ruin Halloween. Look, we got all this stuff around us. We've got cobwebs, and we've got spiders, and we've got all these things. And we got us. We got this.
Cool people with cool
But I was just talking with Bill Koontz, my photographer, the guy that's doing the video tonight, and he just got back from England. And everybody was coming to me and talking about how the spirit world is so amazing. And I said, yeah, I know. He just got back from this place where they were having a seance, okay? And beings were talking, and mediums were there, and trances were had. And I said to Bill, I said, you know, it's funny because a lot of people, they have a hard time with this. They're thinking they're tampering with the devil. And I said, and I'm going to say to everybody else, it's a fact that the idea of not contacting spirits, the idea of not looking for ghosts, the idea that it's bad is a relatively new thing. You know that. Because back in the early 20th century, 19th century, 20th century, there were so many people that were heartbroken about the losses they suffered from the Civil War that they wanted to contact their dead loved ones. And that's why Ouija boards were made. They were made to contact. In fact, they can go back even farther than that, but just the idea of contact and using something with letters and a planchette. And of course, many people don't know this either, but even Thomas Edison, he wanted to create a device that would be able to talk with the spirit world. And he said, because there were a lot of I guess you call them charlatans or fakes back then, and they would do these, what they call tapping, table tapping. Anybody hear of table tapping? And what it was is that if there's a ghost in the room, tap the table 2 times. And it was really the medium just tapping the table, and people were like going, oh my God, there's a ghost in the room. But he was saying, you know, there should be something that we can create that's more sophisticated, where we can actually contact the spirit world with the power that we have, and somehow send that power into the universe and have it come back with a voice from the other side. Edison believed that. Now, a lot of debunkers and scientific types will say, well, he was just kidding. He wasn't kidding. In fact, General Electric actually put a patent on that very device that he wanted to use to try and contact the dead. And what was ironic about that whole thing, what's coincidental about the whole thing, is that while Edison's quest to use a contraption to contact the dead, in his quest to do that, he did something completely opposite. You know what he did? He created a contraption where we can hear ghosts. Not necessarily taking it into a room and saying, is there anybody here that wants to speak to us from the other side? No, that didn't happen. What happened is he created the phonograph. And with that phonograph, I can hear the voices of Patsy Cline, Jim Morrison, Jimi Hendrix. All of them dead. All of them singing their haunting songs. All of them singing in their spirit on that little disc, hearing their voices. Now here's the deal. If that can be done with a disc, if that can be done with magnetic tape, if we can somehow keep and preserve those voices on magnetic tape and on disc and on wax, and we can play it back again from someone who has passed away, that is the key. That is the key to contact, in my opinion, because you know what? This entire planet is electromagnetic. It's an electromagnetic field. We have the magnetic field surrounding us. We have a magnet inside of the Earth, the core. We have a magnet called the sun. So everything that we do has an electromagnetic signature. And what if ghosts are nothing more than electromagnetic anomalies? And so what we do is we increase the electromagnetic field, and suddenly we start seeing ghosts. Or perhaps all of our energy together as human beings can create that kind of cloud of electromagnetic energy to produce a spirit to appear. That's why in a seance you all clasp arms and you say, if there's anybody in this room, please identify. It's the power of everyone in unison creating that spirit. It's psychokinesis. You know, I really didn't know anything about psychokinesis until I met my wife and talked with her about it. She has a lot of thoughts on that. I'm really excited that she was able to give me those thoughts, because a lot of it has to do with what's in you. They always say the truth is out there, but no, the truth is in you, and the truth is what comes from you. It comes from your subconscious, comes from your collective unconscious. It was Carl Jung that said that we have dark archetypes, we have lighter archetypes, and we have to find a duality with each. Find a duality with each one. And that is why I think that it's not a bad thing to mingle, or at least try to walk up to the veil, part it for just a little bit, and see if there's anything out there that wants to speak to you. Whether it be a dead loved one who loves you and wants to speak with you, or it could be a loved one that you've never even met yet. It could be a loved one that hasn't even been born yet. Because I was once told, it was a very interesting truth, when I felt really bad and I fed down in the dumps, someone once told me, he says, you know, there are people on the other side that want you to succeed. And those people on the other side that want you to succeed are those that have died. Your loved ones, your ancestors, and those who came before you. And then there are also those who haven't been born yet, who are there watching you, waiting for that moment where you will make a difference and you will give them the opportunity to come into this world and to do the things that they're supposed to do to make it a better place. Because in that multiverse, if this part of the multiverse dies, I believe the rest of them die. It's a domino effect. It really is. If part of the multiverse dies, where it's another part of the multiverse where people don't care, they want to destroy it, there's the domino effect where the rest of the multiverse will die with it. They're proving with more and more experimentation and more trials that we are living in a multiverse. Some people even think we live in a simulated world. If it's simulated, we don't know the difference between what is real and what is not real. It's the unreal. Just like in the Matrix, they say, welcome to the world of the unreal. Welcome to the world of the real. What is the difference of the simulation? If the simulation is so good you can't tell the difference, well, if you can't tell the difference, then it is real, is it not? This is all some simulation. It's a great simulation. It was all some accident. It's a great accident. If things come through in the glitches, like spirits, or things come through like demons, or darker entities, or chaotic entities, or how Thomas Sheridan, when he was on my show, said feral energies. I like that term, because not every energy that's chaotic is evil. It's just feral. I mean, when an animal attacks you, do you think that animal is evil? No. It's acting on instinct. It's acting immorally. It's acting without any conscience of whether or not it's right or wrong to attack. All it takes is understanding of the elements of this world. All it takes is the understanding of why these elements, when they come together, create the spirit world. Why we decide that there is something more than just what is here in material. There's something greater, something spiritual, something fantastic. That's why I defend every single one of you who decide that you want to know more. I defend the idea that you can't be limited by just one book like a Bible or one history book. There's conspiracy history, there are Sumerian tablets, there are other ancient tablets that testify that mankind has always had interaction with beings somewhere out there. Now you can call them gods, you can call them aliens, you can call them the Nephilim, you can call them demons, whatever you call them, that's fine. You can be afraid of them if you want to, but there's nothing, in my opinion, that'll convince me that it doesn't happen. There's nothing in my opinion that doesn't convince me that people are inspired. There's nothing that can convince me that this does not happen, because people every day are inspired to do greater and wondrous things. They're inspired to do fantastic things, and they're also inspired to do horrible things that will destroy us. And that is why I always say, you know, I said the other night, I said, I hate being the guy in Halloween that has to talk about elections, has to talk about leadership, talk about politics, because here we are at a time where everything that we do, everything that we think and everything that we feel, the division, the hatred, the anger, having this consume our lives. Why does it consume our lives? It shouldn't. What should consume our lives is the fact that, yeah, we're making a decision, but these people are not external saviors. They're not gods. They're only people. They're only people. And I don't know what it is with political rhetoric. I don't know what it is with political philosophy or ideology that gets people so worked up. I don't know what it is about religious philosophy and ideology that gets people so worked up. We don't need the dogma, because dogmatic things make us crazy. Radicalizing ourselves is not going to do any good. Being militant is not going to do any good. And I know it sounds all Pollyanna and crazy, but you know what really works in situations like this? Love. Love. Love works. Love is important. If that's my message for Halloween is love. If that's my message, that there is nothing wrong with opening up to the spirits this Halloween, if that's my message to know that there are plenty of benevolent beings out there that want to see your success, then that's my message for Halloween. How am I doing for time?
Day of the Dead.
Day of the Dead. How am I doing?
Celebrate our...
What are we doing? What are we looking at for time?
Oh, you got 30 minutes.
30 minutes. Does anybody have any questions they want to comment about what we're talking about tonight? Because I want to open it up for questions too. I mean, I could be talking all night long. And I know that's what I'm supposed to do, but there are plenty of people out there that have things they want to say and they want to add to the conversation. That's what the Ground Zero Lounge is all about.
Honoring the dead.
Honoring those who came before us, honoring those who, you know, having an interest, speaking up, opening up the dialogue. And if anybody, and another thing too, is if you don't have anything to add to the conversation tonight, if there's something that you want to ask, if you want to start the discussion in a different area, we have 30 minutes to do it, so I'd like to invite people to do that. That'd be really awesome. If they'd like to ask a question about what's going on, or what we did on the show, or what happened with the doll, or what happened with the spirit that was speaking to us, that sort of thing. You have something to say? Are you going to say something? I'm hungry. You're hungry? You're eating? That's good. That's awesome. I know they were wanting to start the Halloween party pretty soon, so I was just curious as to when, you know, because I did start late, and that's what I was thinking. I was just going to, okay, go ahead. Yeah, you go. There you go.
So, what
Yes.
I gotta say is,
Yes.
so what do you feel about them reopening the Clinton investigations?
What do I think about that? I think that it's warranted. I think it needs to be done. I don't feel at all. Once again, it makes me feel not secure about what's going to be happening in the future. I mean, I worry about what this means. And what's that? The election? I've always felt it was, ever since the Bush administration. Yeah. I've been thinking, yes, it's rigged. But see, this is the situation. You have two people who people in the world and in the country don't like. They don't like them. And they certainly, you know, I don't know why, if they don't like them, they just don't say, hey, I don't like it. I mean, it's like school lunch, right? You go to school and they serve the same old crap every day, and I go, I just don't like this. I don't want to eat it. I'll go to McDonald's, or I'll go someplace else if I can. And this is the thing. We do have alternatives. We do have ways of circumventing the process and saying we're not going to continue. There are nullification laws everywhere. There are reinvestigations that can be done. And we can basically petition to kind of slow things down and halt the things and reinvestigate what's going on. And that's why I'm really curious as to why this isn't being brought up, because I really feel as though they don't want to upset the apple cart, but they're going to have to deal with a lot of these issues. And the reinvestigation is something that I know is going to basically thwart. I mean, what, we're 2 weeks away, less than 2 weeks away? And we're already talking about this? We're already talking about the possibility of malfeasance? Yeah, go ahead. Hold on.
That money should all go back to Haiti.
What's that about Haiti?
The Clinton Foundation money.
Should all go back to Haiti? Oh, that's another story. I remember when I was involved with the Haiti situation, and I knew right then and there that a lot of that money was not going to go to help the Haitians when they were having the earthquake. And it didn't. And they turned doctors away, and they told them they couldn't fly, they couldn't land. I knew a doctor who, it was back when I was living in the old neighborhood I was living in over there on Corbett, and the strange part is he came to me and he said, we flew down to Haiti and they turned us away to help these people. And he says all that money was basically taken, and most of the money that we donated here in the United States didn't go to them. It went somewhere else, and they still don't know where it went. So that would be an investigation too, is hey, where did that money go? Where did all that money go that was sent to Haiti during the earthquake? Not to mention the hurricane. The Clinton Foundation is exactly right. And that's the thing, is where did that money go? And that's the question. Yeah. I mean, where does it all funnel? I mean, when we have these disasters, I remember when George W. Bush was up there with Bill Clinton, and he said, I know there are a lot of people out there that want to send blankets, they want to send clothing, but just send them your cash. Just send them your cash. And I thought that was kind of odd. Just send them your cash. I didn't understand what that meant. And then I finally realized what it meant. It meant they just want money, because the thing is that money is anonymous. Money can be hidden, money can be stored, money can be put somewhere, and we won't know where it goes. We just know that people are still wanting, they're still hurting, and they still need things.
It's like giving your blood.
Yeah, it's like giving your energy and your blood, because, you know, money, I was taught this once about money. Money is an energy source. It's like you take this dollar bill, for example, and, you know, this dollar bill, I could take this dollar bill and turn it into 4 quarters and put it in that machine. It makes that machine work. I can play a couple games of pinball with this dollar bill because it makes the machine work. I can take this dollar and I can put it into a jukebox. It'll play me music. I can take this dollar and it'll give me the opportunity to buy some chewing gum if I need it. It's a hamburger, yes. It's a unit of energy. And so if there's not energy going into a place, if the energy's not coming, you just don't have anything after that. When the energy's taken, there's not enough energy to continue, and so money is a source of energy. That's why I always tell people, if you want to put your energy towards things you support, those things will continue. If you don't put energy towards the things you support, they'll die.
That's the government's incentive plan. That's all this is keeping in mind.
Well, to take it from you, to take your energy, to keep you in pain, to keep you unhappy. I remember when Robert Anton Wilson, I interviewed him, and he told me, he says, one of the ways, there's one way we can have a good politician, a good president. And I said, how's that? And he says, what they need to do, a president needs to promise that everyone will have clean water to drink, good food to eat, and put them out of pain, and you will have a presidency that's a success. Now take a look.
A complacent society.
Well, not really. I mean, think about this. If you're fed well, most Americans aren't. They're eating GMOs now. Well, if you have a roof over your head, if you're being fed good food, not GMO food, if you get clean water, which, you know, water with, I mean, here we have it clean without fluoride. That's cool. But the idea of water and food and being out of pain keeps people happy. And I have said before, and I'll say it again, the way we're treating people nutritionally in this country, the way we're treating people with the idea of not clean water and getting them bad water, I think it's a threat to national security. I think that the diseases that are plaguing people, diabetes and all these things, they're a threat to national security. Why? Because if you do not have a fit nation, if you have a nation that's sick and tired and always in the hospital and always on drugs, they're not going to be able to survive if there's something like, for example, we're all getting hot and heavy about Russia. You know, if we keep kicking the fence with Russia, Russia will be able to take us without even dropping a nuclear weapon. Why? Because we're sick, we're tired, we're not eating the right kind of foods. And many people are sad, they're depressed, and they're separated from a lot of good things. I mean, you can't say a strong nation exists when people are sick and tired, going to the hospital, dependent on drugs, not taking the right nutrients. And see, that is why, you know, whenever I talk about Longevity, which is this company that I work with, that I partnered with, people say, oh, it's just an infomercial, there's nothing to this. Well, look, you know, I've lost about 160 pounds. I did get up, thank you, I did get up pretty high when I was sick. But I want to get better, I want to feel better, I want to do better. Because I know that, you know, if the aliens land tomorrow, they're going to eat the fat ones first. And I don't want to be the fat one they're going to eat first. I really don't. And that goes for any invasion. That goes for what's going on with Russia. If Russia decides to invade us tomorrow, they're going to go after the fat and sick first. They're the easy ones. They're the easy prey. They're the low-lying fruit that they can take down and take out. Unless you got a gun. Gun speaks volumes. But then again, you know, what are they doing? They want to propose that they take guns away from us. They want to push the Second Amendment issues and saying, hey, we want to infringe upon your gun rights.
They're going to ordinance the hell out of you.
Yeah, I mean, ordinance the hell out of you. And you know, and something to think about too. When you want to take over a place, what do? You disarm them. You take away their communication sources. When that internet hack happened the other day and we were off, that was a communication cutoff. And that frightened me because I thought, you know, and then there's that thing from Star Wars where it says communication loss means one thing, invasion. I kept thinking that over and over in my head from that Phantom Menace movie. And it's true, if they want to go after your communication sources, that was a test run. I mean, the big one will knock out all of the communication. The big one will knock out all of the grid. We won't be able to exchange things. We won't be able to use our money. We won't be able to do that. And you have to be prepared for that.
That's not the big thing. What about when they get the power line, the
power systems, the
water,
water, the systems. I mean, what are you going to do? Are you going to be standing there going, hey, we want the first responders to help us? No, the first responders are going to go to the places that are closest to them. They're going to go to the immediacy of what it is. But the other lying areas, you're going to wait days, weeks, months before you're even seen. And what are you going to do? You're going to leave? You're going to worry? I mean, I remember that hurricane went through New Jersey and people were on TV going, President Obama, you've abandoned us. President Obama, we want food. President Obama, we want heat. President Obama didn't care. Yeah, look at Katrina. Everybody was saying, why isn't the Federal Emergency Management Agency doing anything? Because that's not their job. Their job is just to basically continue and guarantee the continuity of government, and that's exactly what they did, regardless of who's drowning, who's dying, who's stranded, doesn't matter. They want to be able to figure out how they can tax the shit out of you after you've just been hit by a hurricane. That's what they do. That's their job. If you don't like it, then why don't you investigate it and figure out this is what they do to you, and you have to be prepared, and as Hoover once said, pull yourself up by your own bootstraps, because no one's going to come to your aid unless you're prepared.
Yes, on 97.
Yes, on 97. And see, and I think that's an important thing. That's an important issue. And I know we've kind of weaved away from the spirit world thing, but you know what? It does a spirit good to be prepared. It does a spirit good to be happy. It does a spirit good to feel as though you have confidence, and that's what gives hope. And if anything I want to give to you tonight, that's hope.
We need Hellboy.
Hope. We need Hellboy. We need hope. And I think the hope is in all of us. I think the hope is where we sit, where we think, our families. I mean, we need to be able to keep our own house in line so that we can help others. It's like when you're on an aircraft, they always tell you, put your mask on first, and if someone else is struggling, help them, because you're not going to do anybody any good if you're suffocating on a plane. You're not going to be able to put a mask on them. So take care of yourself, take care of your family, take care of everything, because, you know, as much as this is an axiom that sounds all good and clever, but it is the winter of our discontent. We have to realize that after the election, which is happening in just a few days, 50% of the country is not going to like the decision that's being made. Do you want to say something, Ron? He wants to say something. 50% will not like the decision. Go ahead.
Do you think that some of that identity politic and getting all worked up about some point of view or some religion, that some of that is a lack of spirituality, or a lack of belief in something more, that we're just kind of sedated and going along with it, and something to take that place?
Well, I think there's a difference between going along with something and then being so militant you're not willing to listen. And that's what I'm worried about. I'm dealing with militants every day who write me, and they go beyond the idea that you're wrong. They go to the jugular. They go to, I hope you die. You know, I hope you die and go to hell. You know, it's things like that okay, you're right. It goes to a point where, yeah, you don't want to be passive, but it gets to that point where you're going too far on one end. It's like when people start, like if I were to say to you, you know, hi there, I don't agree with you and I hope you die. You wouldn't like me, and I wouldn't like you either. And that's the thing, is that it gets to a point where you're no longer praying, you're cursing. You're no longer thinking good things, you're leaning towards more Luciferian satanic ideas, where it's all about me, and my spirituality is all that's important. Your spirituality, I don't give a shit about, and I'm going to tell you I don't give a shit about it, and I'm going to get in your face, and I'm going to, in one hand, hold the Bible, and in the other hand, pound you one. Go ahead.
Letting go of critical thinking and abdicating thoughts and disengaging from the
No, not necessarily.
No. I mean,
I don't think it is advocating. I mean, look, there's something called radicalization within any religion, and we just go ape shit over Muslims that get radical. Well, I want to start getting ape shit about Christians that go radical. I want to say, look, there's a point in your Christianity and there's a point in your religion where you're not adhering to what Jesus. You know, there was a thing I saw one time on Saturday Night Live that was hilarious. It said, Jesus against war, Jesus against higher taxes, Jesus against this, Jesus wrong for America. And that's how it is. I mean, if Jesus were to run for president, he wouldn't win. if you didn't know who he was. And I always tell people, you know, if Jesus was to return, it'd be like Jesus to hire a telemarketing firm to call people on the phone and say, hey, he's returned. Oh, shut up, hang up. Because I mean, that's the thing, is that I think people, they take for granted that they'll know exactly a demon when it walks in the door, or they know when something good is walking in the door. They don't. They're human. And I can say all the good things, I can say all the nice things, and I can smell really pretty, and I can have all the nice unblemished face, and you can think I'm the greatest thing in the world, but you know what? Deep down inside, I want you gone. And people, that's how it is when you're looking for presidents. You know, they can look good, they can be poised, polished, they can say all the right things, but then when it's all said and done, the honeymoon's over in 9 months, and you got to basically figure out just what the hell you did and how you elected that person and how you want them gone. You know, we want one asshole to get rid of the other asshole. And when I talked about a demon fighting a demon the other night on the show, people says, how dare you say this about demons fighting demons? And what are we doing with the presidency? We hire one demon to take out the other demon as a disinfectant. It happens, but it's the lesser of two evils. That's exactly right. One evil demon taking out another evil demon. We just basically say, which one is the lesser of the two, and which one are we willing to deal with when it comes? The one we know or the one we don't know? So it is. It's demons fighting demons. It's alien versus predator. And you know what? When alien versus predator has a fight, who cares who wins? We lose. Because the alien is still going to eat us. The demon is still going to kill us. We gotta get smart. We got to start figuring out that they taught us that the bar can be set low. We can set the evil wherever we want it and say, oh yeah, okay, I'll be apologist for that. I mean, I'll be an apologist for this little bit of evil because I know that this guy's going to do a good job. Or I'll apologize for this little bit of evil because I know that she's going to save us. No, they're not. They're not saviors. The apotheosis is pathetic. And why do we do it? Because we're being programmed to do it. And they're more sophisticated now in their programming. It's neural programming. They've done, you know how long they've been campaigning? 4 years. 4 years they've been campaigning. It's like this campaign has not stopped, and it's not going to stop. Once we elect the president, there's going to be somebody standing up there going, I'm going to run in 4 years, and I'm starting my campaign now. Really? Who cares? We just put in a new person. But this doesn't matter. They're going to push this issue because the thing is, they've realized that politics is a great floor show. It's a great reality show. It's theater for the ugly, and people want to play. And you know, I think that's something that's consuming us too. I mean, when I watch the news every night, and the only thing I hear about is what Donald Trump said, or what Hillary Clinton said, or what she did, or what he didn't do, or what they didn't do, and I want to know something else, hell, my job's easy then, because I can just go and I can harvest whatever stories are not being reported by the news and say, hey, I got something to tell you that's unique and interesting. So that's a conspiracy theory. Why? Because the mainstream news avoided it because they want to talk about Hillary and they want to talk about Trump? No. It's because there's so many things out there that are not being reported or talked about. There's so much dialogue that's being ignored by the mainstream, and I feel that it's my job to bring that dialogue to light.
George Soros, he owns it all.
And I think that bringing dialogue to light in a different way, and people will be offended by it, but you know what? It's because their normalcy bias is being kicked around. But you know, we shouldn't be just so caught up in the dogma of things. We should live, we should be happy, we should let the spirit in, and we should not be afraid of those spirits that want to come in and we want to enrich our lives. That's what Halloween is about. That's what I talked about from the very beginning. We've gone full circle, and I think I'm done unless anybody else has a question. You have a question? Okay, go ahead. No questions? If there's no questions, I'm going to stop because I think I've said enough. I know we're almost to time, and I know I'm under my time, but thank you so much for coming out to the Ground Zero Lounge. Have fun. It's a Halloween party. Good night.